call this meeting to order, and we have to just add a couple of letters that we've received from individuals regarding the recycling roll-offs. We'll be adding those to our correspondence for discussion. And with that, we can go on to the minutes of our previous meeting, February 15th.
I'll move that we approve the select board minutes from our meeting of February 15th.
I'd second that.
Okay, any discussion?
Good to me.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I'll abstain.
Okay. Moving on, we have bills for payment. We have warrant 18. We have warrant 18P. And from the Recreation Board, we have number 8.
I move we approve for payment warrant 18P, and recreational board number 8.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Under warrant 18, the grand total is, and I had to practice this a few times, $1,316,123.33. And most of that money is $665,615 going to the Dummerston School. And then we have $544,695 going to BUHS. We also have $3,361 for salt. We have some highway signs and fuels and supplies. The second portion of the appropriations for the different committees and funds in the town are being made. Let's see, legal notice from the DRB, and let's see. So that's about it.
Distracting, isn't it?
Yep.
Thanks.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Let's see, what would be your preference? We have our reps to the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District, and we have our road foreman. He's actually first on our agenda.
I would go with the road foreman.
Oh,
too.
unless he,
Yeah,
Whatever.
let lead.
Yeah.
You got up early, didn't you?
Yeah.
yeah,
That needs to be signed, I see.
okay.
Sign the files in here.
Okay,
Yes, I do.
Did you approve?
the covered bridge, the pictures and the Reynolds quote has been delivered to the insurance companies. We haven't heard back anything yet, so we're just waiting for word. I don't know if anyone saw the quote, but it was around 63,000.
63,273.
Yeah, so it's right up there. All right, so for mud season, south end of Sunset Lake Road, right at the Brattleboro town line, that was a little rough. We hauled a little gravel up there. Brattleboro slowed it up because their end was as bad. Other than that, the roads have been just soft and everything seems to be going all right. Yeah, we haven't had to do much to them. Tomorrow, we're hoping to actually go out with a grader and take care of some of the rough spots. I thought it was gonna rain hard tonight, so we didn't today, but, sort of that's the plan. Tomorrow, meeting with the power company to go over some hazard trees. I talked to Steve earlier about it. What they'll do is any trees that are leaning over the road and over the power lines, what are rotten, they will help us take them down a lot of times. But they will go around with you and they'll say yay or nay, and it'll work like that. Hoping to get the specs for the new, 1-ton dump truck, in order fairly soon. And hopefully, once I do, Steve and Hugh can look at them and, if we wanna meet and look at them and, see if we need to make any changes. We can. For grants, the Better Roads grant is due on the 15th, and we're applying for the category A, the road inventory. And Wyndham Regional actually contacted me the other day, because they would be actually, helping us with this. And, they're coming up with some information and sending it to us. And then we'd still like to apply for a B or C, and that would be a drainage issue in town. It's just a matter of if we want to go in the same or same one we did last year, or if we want to do a different one.
A is for what?
Road inventory. They'll go around and, I guess, inventory the roads and maybe figure out erosion problems. And every town is supposed to actually have a road inventory, so hopefully that's pretty much a guarantee we'll get that one.
Good,
And that's a $8,000 grant.
okay.
And then there's a, I don't know if you saw it, but there's emergency management grant for radios. And I'm working with Don Hubbard on the, right now the highway department's on low band, so we can't talk to fire department, sheriff's department, or any of that. So most towns, Putney's already gone to high band radios, and talking with our radio repair person, Newfane's looking to go to high band also. So we are looking to apply for that grant, to replace all the radios in the town equipment. There would be, well, it'd be just removing one from up here because there's already a high band up here, and a radio for the town shop.
So with the current radios that you have, you can speak with among each other, running the road crew, but it doesn't do you any good with the fire department.
Right,
Okay.
right, and that's what they want. They want
Yeah.
everyone to be,
Yeah.
so they can talk with everyone else, if needed. The figures on that, it was around $12,000 to replace everything. And if we don't get it this year, hopefully it'll be available next year and we'll apply again. I have got a copy of the budget and everything seems to be going well there, right this second. We have a crack in the backhoe bucket, and we are going to bring it down to Renewal Brothers down on Old Ferry Road, and they do that sort of work. And we're hoping to bring it down tomorrow. The only other thing is whoever's doing the town highway budget, if we want to meet or have any questions, definitely feel free. And
Yeah,
we can-
I'm thinking.
I don't
of
know.
doing that.
All right, okay.
We'll
Yeah.
go visit,
Yeah, just.
Yeah.
um,
Or not the highway budget, I'm doing the capital fund for the truck and
Yes,
see.
Oh, okay.
I'll do.
All right.
Yes, and I'll just say,
Yeah.
well, you know, if I don't know, I'll just say, oh,
I'll give you a list. So you know I'm at all.
Lee knows. Lee knows, he's in the
But-
back row.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think there's anything
I
really huge
don't think there are
on it.
any
Right.
surprises.
Right,
We-
the paving maybe, you know,
Just
it's
that.
Upper Dummerston and Sugar House Hill, and that was on the plan,
Mhm.
so we really haven't changed there. Pretty much everything else is the same.
It's not a lot different from last
Right.
year.
Right. Okay, I think that's about all I had unless there's questions.
Okay, we need to sign the certificate of compliance.
Okay.
And do you think we can do that with a good conscience?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll move that we sign the certificate of compliance for town road and bridge standards.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
I have one, and Lee, I wanna visit with you this,
Yep.
outside the meeting, but, I had a request from New Fane to cross the covered bridge with their fire truck. So I wanted to meet with you and maybe Mike and see if that's something that could be done, if they're on a call like the Camp Arden Road or go to Putney. And I know the weight is the
Mhm.
issue, but I wanted to meet with you
Right.
and Mike and see if the bridge is.
Right around 40,
Is it?
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
little bit over,
Yeah.
is all right, but I'm not sure, they're talking their tanker,
Yeah, it's
probably.
like 50, yeah.
Yeah, so
So I
oh,
wanted
it's
to-
50, yeah,
I was hoping you and I could visit with Mike
yeah,
and
I-
see what it actually is engineered for.
right, they might, yeah.
But we can do that outside the meeting.
Lee, do you have any sense for, what sort of a winter it's been as far as plowing?
Hours, I think we've used, it was like 5,000 yards 2 years ago, 3,300 yards last year of sand. So, and I think we're at 5,000. So I think it's, as far as sand goes, I think we used a lot of material.
Yep.
And it was early, and then that 2 week period wasn't that bad because it's storm after storm and you really didn't have time to have a lot of material. But early we used a lot.
How about hours?
Hours, I'm pretty positive we're good, we're really good on hours.
Okay.
We budget the 180, I believe it's still 180 per person. And I would think we're right around the 100, you know. But without looking, you know.
Yep.
And the part-time people, since we've been running with the 3 full-time people, part-time people have really stepped up. Done a good job. You've probably seen the payroll where we had, Ron Hubbard was, I believe it was the first time he's plowed, for us. He's worked for us, but first time plowed, even with a larger truck, and did a good job. Ernie came in quite a bit with the larger truck and did a good job. And Tyler seems to always be there when you need him. So, yeah, it worked out good.
Great, good. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, any questions from the public, really?
Just
The usual thanks, it was a good winter, I assume it's over.
I don't think you can.
He's not holding his breath.
March is traditionally a tough month.
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't that usually our
Today's the
snowiest
first
month?
day.
Yeah.
Like you said, Steve, the day's not over yet.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lee.
Yep.
Thanks.
Oh, sense of when they're going to work on the covered bridge?
I don't. I would, no, I don't. I think they want to do it earlier. I think they'd do it tomorrow if they could, because before their busy season. But
Just gotta get through the insurance.
insurance company, and I guess that's the other thing, if the insurance company says it's all right, we kind of all agreed to just do it, right? Or start it and, all right, cause it's gonna be 4 days of, partial closures. It might be, they can let the buses go through, that type of thing, but, they have to take the roof off it and, different things like that. It takes time.
In their estimate, it's over $6,000 just for traffic control and
Yeah.
signage.
Oh, and they take care of that.
Yeah, yeah, I told them that we really, well, we didn't wanna have to, deal with all that stuff, putting up
Yeah.
signs and not knowing what they're gonna be doing.
Right, so they
It's-
just do it.
They're gonna do the whole complete package,
Great.
so.
So, do we have some, sense that we should be getting some other bids? I mean, this is a significant amount.
But we're not paying it.
Well, I know, but,
Their insurance
yeah.
is paying it.
They've
I'm
been
surprised the
It's their
insurance
job.
hasn't asked you to get some extra
But it's
bids.
it's their job to get extra bids. I don't think it's up for
that
us.
company's done most of the work on that covered.
Right,
bridge,
yeah.
So
All the
I,
work, yeah.
yeah, so I think, I mean,
We're lucky that
I
they're
think
choosing
if
that.
the insurance company needs to pay the bill, and then those guys need to continue to work on the bridge, is
Okay.
what I would, in my opinion.
I agree.
I do believe if we hit the bridge, the highway department, and we were having to put out the money, then we'd wanna definitely, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's a little bit,
If we did it,
right,
we were
Right.
responsible.
I do think that, I'd worry about it more.
Yeah, right, yeah. I'm just surprised they haven't asked us to get other bids.
Well, and they might,
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
because it hasn't come back yet.
yeah, right,
So,
yeah.
um,
I don't have any issue with this,
Right.
I'm just saying,
right,
as a rule, that's,
yep.
okay, thanks.
Right, and if they come back, I mean, let's play it by ear, but if they come back low, then we may have to look at that. I mean, it's a historic bridge, it's got a lot of, there's a lot of value to that bridge, and whether the insurance company recognizes that initially or not, but I guess we'll wait and see what they come back with, but, I mean, I can see where there's a lot of cost in that, because they've got to deconstruct it to go back in and fix the damage of it,
Right.
so. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So, with your consent, we'll skip over correspondence for information and go into correspondence for discussion. No, let's go into new business.
Right.
And we have the letter from Bob Spencer from the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District regarding rates and access permits. And we have our two representatives from to the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District here, Michelle Charrier and Lester Dunkley. You want to come up to the
Get those seats warmed up yet?
table?
Yeah, they've been pretty busy tonight,
Yeah,
haven't
yeah,
they?
we have people coming and going there. So we got a letter from you, Michelle, just sort of giving us a heads up that this was coming. And then we got the letter from Bob Spencer. We have been operating on the assumption that the materials, a recycling facility was going to close down, was voted to close down at the end of this fiscal year. And that the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District would no longer be operating the roll-offs that are around towns. And so we looked into having a private hauler and got some prices. But we did have a meeting with, who was the Jamaica rep recently?
Oh, Lou Brusso.
Yeah,
Correct.
came here and gave us the information that the people could still continue to go do their recycling at the Ferry Road facility without charge. And so this letter, after we've set our budget and 10 days before town meeting, came as a surprise. Bob Spencer was saying you'll have a meeting on March 9th to decide, you're looking at fees, access fees for people wanting to go to the Ferry Road facility to drop off recycling. So what we've been telling people may no longer be factual.
Oh,
Is that right?
well, I know that my first mention of the fact that folks will need to get an access fee was actually written down here on February 20th. And that came as a result of a roundtable discussion at the prior board meeting, which was February 12th, I think. And it was mentioned at that time. And, you know, as has been noted, people have been recycling for free all this time. When they
right.
go in and out of the waste district, they use the recycle bins for free. However, the thing about the free is that it's no longer included in the town's, or rather the waste district's budget, and therefore not in the town of Dummerston or any other towns, to dispose of the recycling that comes in there. That wasn't part of the budget. That's a new thing. And it's not really likely that it could be made equitable to each town. We don't know who will use the service of the facility. And so therefore, the only thing that can change is the access fee to get in and use the recycling bins. That's it. And so there's no change to what the town is paying to belong to the district. It's the services that are being purchased by individuals.
But the town is going to pay
Yes,
$21,529 for this next fiscal year.
correct.
And in our assessments in prior years, we were able to have residents go to the ferry road and drop off their recycling and not pay a fee. So now we're going to be paying this $21,525 and tell residents that they are, in addition to paying the portion of their taxes to pay that assessment, they'll also have to shell out to pay to drop off their wine bottles and, you know, New York Times there. So
They are not
$21,529 doesn't buy as much as it used to. So
Well-
I'm kind of disappointed and surprised at that.
It actually buys all the services that's always been that's always been provided, except for the recycling portion of it. And I looked back months now in everything I had, back to July, and then got on into November and December and January. Each time it was mentioned that the district is going to, if there's no recycling done there, it's just going to join the rest of the group of private businesses in terms of needing to charge for the services that it's providing. So
I thought we asked specifically, so if Dummerston doesn't have its roll-off bins anymore at the town garage, will people without a Wyndham Solid Waste dump sticker at least be able to use the recycling bins at the, and I thought we asked
We
that
did-
specific
we-
question.
We can
Right,
play
now
the
they're saying
camera
we can't.
back from the
And-
last meeting, and we did ask that, and we were told they could continue to use these, take their recycling to Ferry Road at no charge.
in December, correct? When that meeting was, in December?
That's right.
When Lou was here.
Yes.
Yes,
In
Yeah.
December.
and so
Yes.
that's that's the information we
Yes.
used to make our decisions as to what we were, you know,
Gonna
doing with our
recommend.
budget and every, you know.
It doesn't change the town's budget.
No, we understand that, Michelle,
Right.
but the problem is we made
Yes, it
representations to,
Yes.
we made decisions and we've made
Based on-
representations to residents that they would continue to be able to recycle for free at the Ferry Road facility. And as Zeke just said, we just found out last week, when we're not in a position to do anything about it before a town meeting. You know, it seems to me this has been part of the district's budget in the past, the recycling, to deal with, when people drop things off there. And I guess I think that clearly the volume is going to increase. Yeah, and I mean, one of my many concerns with this is that, for folks that are struggling financially, for us to now ask them, at this late date, to not only, not have the convenience of the bins, here in Dummerston, but to have to go to, Ferry Road. I mean, that was one thing that, that I think we got over, that we could, it's not that inconvenient to go to Ferry Road, but to now ask them to pay money to recycle. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some percent of the residents, not just in Dummerston but elsewhere, that are they don't have the money. They're not crazy about recycling anyway, and they're either going to leave it by the side of the road, or they're going to put it in their trash. And what I'd like to do is find some way for the district, to have residents not just of Dummerston but other towns, continue to be able to recycle without charge, at least for the next year while we sort all of this out. And one of the, my guess is we're not gonna put bins in here, at this late date. And one of my questions is going to be, have all of the other towns, are any towns going to be continuing with their recycling bins? But even if we were to have bins, I expect they would probably be inundated with recycling from Putney, Newfane, and elsewhere, and we're not going to pay for that.
Every other town is in the same position that we are.
Right, and
They're all trying to decide,
Okay.
as you have, called to see, okay, hauler, ABC, what is it gonna cost for you to either place and then service with pickup those bins, or as I mentioned only once briefly, there may be bins available through the district because they won't be being used anymore. And so towns might be the recipients of those if they want them.
Right, but who's going to pay for for that service to get them emptied?
Well,
That'd be still the town would be doing that.
that is the town.
Right, and
And-
that's not in our budget, because we were told that, folks could recycle without charge down at Ferry Road.
Or have their trash hauler pick
Yeah.
up.
Right, if we choose not to leave the bins up here.
Right, but we made that decision not to put money in our budget to
For the
keep the
bins.
bins.
Right.
Okay.
Because even though people were complaining, residents in Dummerston were complaining that they were now gonna have to go to Ferry Road, we said, well, either pay, what was it, $14,000?
Well, no, that was
Yeah.
based on the last complete year of records, 2015. So we had to assume that there's, since then, there's more. We're going to have to budget enough money to cover what's likely to be an increase in usage.
So it was more than $15,000 that we were gonna have to add to the budget.
Yeah.
And we said, people can go to the district for free, and now, not only can, that's not an option, and so I don't think we're as comfortable with the decision that we made, given the new information.
Right.
It's a business decision. Everyone that's sitting on the board here knows they're dealing with businesses day in and day out. Business changes, the vendor comes to you and says, here's my new circumstance. They give you their new quote. We, the town, have to support the law for recycling. Now, because we're not a transfer station, we don't have to keep those bins. And yes, I know, it then means that the responsibility falls back on all of the residents. And I actually don't know what percentage of the residents are using haulers, but I assume, no idea. We could say 50% of them do, which means
Yes,
they have recycling.
We're guessing, of course.
Yes, we're
'cause
guessing.
We have no idea how many people use the bins, actually,
No,
which is part
we
of
don't.
our problem in deciding. We're
Whether or not
guessing.
we keep them,
The other
yeah.
figure you don't know is how many people use it as convenient when they're driving through town. So how much is that recycling is
Ours.
ours and how much is somebody else's?
Right,
Right.
right.
So that this is, it's all part of the confusion?
It is, it is regrettable that as I watched the progression of all the meetings and the statements being made and everything in the last 4 months, where it became clear over and over again that people should expect that the district, like all other normal businesses, are going to charge what the market requires in order to get rid of their recycling.
Right, it's
And
not a
$65
surprise.
a ton.
It's not a surprise that that is the case.
Mhm.
What is a surprise is the timing of the information.
Well, I would, I mean, clearly, I was led to believe that as we had the discussions here in those meetings,
In December.
that, okay, we kind of beat that sticker thing up for a long time, whether we were gonna need the sticker, we were not, and we were kind of led to believe that, just has been said, that there's still gonna be recycling in Brattleboro. People
Yes.
can go there and recycle, and now at the 11th hour, we're now getting the letter saying that, well, no, it's gonna cost you $25 to buy your
Well, or
your
the
sticker.
sticker's going up, that was the other
Yeah.
part
Well,
of the
or
information.
more. So,
As
I guess that's
opposed
for me, I don't, it's gonna happen probably because they're spending the money, even though we're spending $21,000, but what are you guys gonna do on the 9th? I mean, are you gonna try to mitigate this cost somehow, or is that out of
Right,
your,
and-
is that,
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you're not really a business like businesses because you tell us what we're going to pay for the coming year. Other groups, we asked, the planning commission to give us their budget at the end of November. We spoke with you in December, and the sheriff, the Wyndham Humane Society, all these groups gave us their numbers back in December, because we had to finalize our budget by the end of January, and then so we get this information now. It's not very timely.
but you're tying
And-
it to the budget. Can you tell me why? It's
Uh,
not an expenditure of the town anymore.
Well,
It's our word, because our decision was based on the residents not having to buy a permit and not having to incur an expense to be able to take their recyclables there. So it was much easier to justify us not having our own bins, not spending the 18 or 19,000 for our own bins, because the people that want to recycle could just go there and recycle. And
Would we
so now we're
recommend
gonna
that?
ask them to buy a permit that we've been telling them all winter that we didn't think they had to buy.
Right.
It's the egg is on our face, and I don't think we're happy about it, because I think solid waste should have known this in November or December, that we're gonna have an issue with these.
There was no way to know what the vote would be and therefore what the outcome would be.
But we made a very clear query, our question was pretty direct, and we got an answer. And we based our decision on that answer, and
nobody
you-
said if the MRF shuts down, there might be fees for recycling.
there wasn't even a might,
Yeah.
it was just,
And it is a tough decision,
Does
because
the town want to now keep, a roll
no,
off?
I have reservations about spending $22,000 for the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District, and then possibly another $20,000 on top of that to have some roll-off bins here. I'd be much happier if, for our $22,000 to the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District for the next fiscal year, they let Dummerston residents come and drop off their recycling.
Michelle, I actually made a motion a couple of meetings ago that we have an article, in the town report, so that voters decide at town meeting whether or not to have
include
those
yeah.
bins, and that,
Yeah.
even though I was going to vote against it at town meeting, I wanted the townspeople to decide. That motion was 4-1 against me. So we don't have that opportunity at this point, and even if, you have motions from the floor, I suppose, at town meeting, right?
But we can't, something like this, we couldn't, you could take a non-binding vote.
Right.
Okay.
But you couldn't take a binding vote.
But as I said earlier, even if there were bins, let's say there were bins in Dummerston Center, okay, but not in Newfane, Putney, Guilford,
Brookline.
we're not gonna pay for, all these other towns to recycle.
Understood.
Are there any towns, do you know, or are there any bins that are gonna still be there after July 1st?
Oh,
Don't know of any yet.
we don't know of any.
Right.
There is a little bit of, there's a study committee going on, I don't know if I should bring this up now, but I will. There's the Newfane representative is trying to get a study made to see what it would cost to keep the dual stream running without Brattleboro. But it's a long shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I don't think it's gonna fly, but I'd like to see the figures how it would go.
Right, I read something in the paper that there was I think maybe the Newfane rep trying to get a couple of towns together.
Yes, and Wilmington was on board with it, and a couple were on board with it. But the figures, I don't know what they're gonna come up with figures. They get the information, the financial information, I think is mostly there, just a matter of digesting it and see what's coming. And then you got the other thing is the organics operation wants to be in go forward too. Can they be side by side or not? Or one or the other. I don't know how that's going to work out. But that's just a shot in a way. I'd like to see the dual stream keep on going over at organics. That's my personal, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Okay.
I know when we last met, I said that I thought if the vote was positive, I would see that this would be the last year so that we could
Right.
anticipate this kind of thing. But it's not been possible to anticipate everything that happens as it has come to pass. Since December when that vote was made, and the majority decided we'll close this recycling facility. And that immediately put everyone in the same position, all residents of the district, where they're going to have to pay for private service, and so is the district too. I can certainly bring that up next week, that, Dummerston wants, to have 1 year of grace of no permits until next year, in lieu of the fact that we didn't get advance notification. I can't promise how it'll fly. Maybe other representatives will feel the same way
Yes,
too.
maybe, I don't know.
You might start a revolution.
Yes.
It may well.
I
We're
don't think that
the
would
one to
be,
be affected most because we're the ones most convenient to
Yeah.
Yes.
Part of the
Mhm.
problem in trying to diagnose all this is there's already people in Dummerston that have haulers that come
Yes.
to their place.
Yes.
There's already people in Dummerston that have permits for solid waste.
right,
And now there's people that are recycling. And we're saying, okay, you can recycle down there, but you gotta have a permit to recycle, or the sticker to recycle. But I guess my question on top of that would be is, what are they doing with their items that aren't recyclable? So it might be that they would need the sticker anyway, I guess.
Oh, yes.
I mean, we really,
Other service.
I don't think we're recycling 100% of what comes out of our household, so there's still waste that they gotta get rid of, so it might be that we're arguing about an issue that's not an issue,
Right, I
because they
didn't think
still gotta
about
get rid of
that,
that
Steve.
stuff.
That's
Maybe they
really
already have
Or-
permits, is
is-
what you're saying?
so you-
Or we're gonna have to get one anyway, cause somehow they gotta get rid of the things that aren't
So
recyclable,
you're
so.
saying it'd be a lot more palatable if you were paying for your trash to get rid of it rather than the recyclables. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm just trying to say that maybe there's not as many people this is gonna affect to buy the sticker as
Right,
we're upset
right,
about, because somehow everybody's gotta get rid of the things that aren't
But I mean,
recyclable.
let's say if you,
And there's a significant number of people in Dummerston that have haulers come right to their house and take their trash and take their recycling. There's a lot of people in Dummerston that already have stickers to go to solid waste.
But and that's Steve,
So-
I wonder if,
so
are
how-
they gonna answer that, like, I have a sticker, but I have a hauler, but is my sticker to get rid of my solid waste I am not going in with a faith that that's going to include my recyclables. The way
I
it's- the
would
way it's
very hope
written.
it would.
I don't, well.
That
you
would
know,
really
but-
be a
Yes,
stick.
But
yeah.
up until a couple days
Yeah.
ago, we didn't think we needed a
didn't think it'd be
sticker.
anything. Yeah. I-
So they're gonna
I-
they're gonna add a tack of cost onto that, I
Yeah.
would think.
Well,
I don't know,
I mean,
but.
I have a private hauler, but we have, we do our own recycling. But what I'm most concerned about are folks on fixed incomes that just don't have the money, to pay for a sticker.
But Steve makes a really good point. So what happens with those people and their trash? People
Right.
on fixed
Well-
incomes.
Well,
What's
they've
the,
been probably, paying private haulers, and they've been taking, their recycling to the bins.
right? But this isn't affecting them. I mean, they'll still use the private hauler, and the
Right.
private haulers have to take recycling.
But
Right, yeah.
don't they charge extra for that?
No,
No.
what,
I'm
oftentimes,
supposed to.
what some of them have done is say, okay, instead of picking up trash every week, we're going to pick up trash one week, we'll pick up recycling the next,
Yes,
trash the next, we'll
Right.
alternate, and we'll keep the price the same.
they changed their business model,
Right.
that's correct.
So maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I've not heard that from our hauler. We just put out trash once a
I
week.
think by law they have to. I could be wrong.
I
thought
called
they
Mike,
had
because
to.
I did,
Yeah.
I made a comment about that, and I actually called him, or actually I stopped and talked to him when he was coming by, and no, they would just do what Zeke said, my price wouldn't change, I
Right.
would just go trash one week, recycles the
Right.
next, but.
Right,
Of course, he always has the option, because I put out, 2 bags now instead of 1, he can send me the extra bill,
Yeah,
right, for
yeah,
extra weight,
right, yeah.
but they don't, they come and just do it the way Zeke described it, so.
yeah, I mean, the buck doesn't stop here, remember, we're gonna follow this all the way back to where it started, which is in the state, at the state level, where it's required by law to recycle.
Right.
Not only that, they changed what can be recycled, so a significant portion to me were things that they have no recyclability and now they end up in my trash can.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's difficult to try to
It's-
keep a
it's a
lid on
challenge.
what's going into the landfills, but the town and the district don't own the ultimate responsibility for what the law tells us we have to do. We are just reacting, I think.
Well, I think at the very least
And-
that, and I don't know if we need to take a vote on this or what, but at the very least, I think the district has to be asked to have a 1-year moratorium on the recycling. And I
I'm
would
happy to
think,
bring it up.
I mean, we're already paying, Zeke had the exact dollar,
Like
$21,000 or whatever. I mean, it ought to cover,
I know I've got it here.
it ought to cover a little more than somebody bringing a bag of trash and putting a dumpster down here. I don't know.
I certainly agree, Steve. What I don't understand though is the mechanics of, to get to the recycling bins, do you have to go over the scale now?
No.
No.
Well, there you have it. I don't think
No.
that those details have been determined yet.
Yeah, so they'd have to put the gate up. They'd have to put a gate up before.
It would
Just
change.
all
Have
people
a
would have to
sticker
go
to
through
get
the
into
scale.
the place at all. Wouldn't have to do with the scale.
Even the number of roll-offs may have to change, so perhaps even their location. So, I mean, the time up until when those bins disappear on July 1st is going to be used heavily, I think, by the district to accommodate, what the members are requiring to close.
Well, I think it's pretty clear what our concern is. We're concerned that we made our decision based on the model at that time.
No extra cost.
And if there was some hesitation in their planning, then we should have been warned of that. So to take that further down the road, we really should look at the district trying to absorb this the first year and see
Well,
what happens. And I know it might not fly, but I
I
would,
was gonna say,
I mean, I
a
think that's,
large item for consideration here is that last year's budget, as we know, was slashed. And, hopefully that was to the cheers of all the select boards of all the towns of the district. However, that did not cover the costs of the district. That should not have been done. I realize that every select board asked, keep it level, we don't wanna see any increases. Well, we didn't increase, and now
Right,
there's
you-
no
sure.
cash to
You-
run the business,
you
and therefore we're going for a
decreased.
loan.
Um,
Right.
And it was nice, but we rely on, I suppose it was the financial committee and the members to come up with a budget that actually reflects reality. And when I read that you're 175,000 in the red, I have to wonder whether you guys know what you're doing now. It makes me think that you don't. I think we could do a better job throwing darts at the wall, putting some numbers up there and throwing darts.
There is
and
one
what-
down there, don't worry about it.
I just,
Well,
and then I was
there's
shocked,
five people
we
sitting
would
here.
make people happy if we said,
So-
well, we'll just level fund the budget,
We go home.
let's go home.
Yes.
Level fund it, but then we have to pay the piper when,
It's time.
and we have a responsibility to,
Yeah.
not just make people happy, but to craft a budget that's
I
actually
think what
going to
the problem
fly.
is-
What were you guys, what was
Yeah,
going on down
There's
there?
too many balls up in the air for the juggling.
Well, and one of those was the solar arrays was supposed to contribute
Earlier.
Yeah.
a lot of money into the
Yeah.
waste district to help keep our spends
And-
down
and-
and we
They
don't.
didn't get this whole thing with the market for recyclables.
Is-
Then you get
yeah.
your whole thing with the, what's mandated, what's that's gonna do to it. There's so many moving parts to
Yeah.
the whole thing. And then we got other problems of machinery breaking down, so you get that whole thing.
Yeah.
So you get, all this stuff was all juggling and
I expect you're gonna hear this from every outlying town.
Oh, you better believe
next
we-
week.
You're lucky you just have to stand here, you don't have to go around to the other
I think I'm glad I got this job and not that job right now.
Yes, it's
it's
a challenge. It's a challenge to add a voice to so many voices and try to make it so that it is reasonable enough to keep the business running. And I wish that my voice were louder, or at least maybe if I moved to Brattleboro, I'd have more votes. I could have more influence.
And there's already a premium that they're charging when you go there with your material based when you go
Yeah, it's
to
not just
other,
a sticker.
other places in town. I mean, you're already paying a premium per ton. I mean, I don't know. It's,
I will bring this up, not because, I'm not aware of it, but there are other places to go.
yeah,
There's another place to take your recycling that's not as close as the district,
yeah.
but it's possible to go down to Brattleboro Haulage?
which is triple T.
Triple T,
Yeah.
right, Triple T.
So we have other people here, maybe they have something to say.
Yes.
Any comments?
Any
I think the other concern that was sort of brushed over was that the state is asking everybody, made a law for us all to recycle for good environmental reasons, and somebody mentioned the likelihood of an increase in dumping by the side of the road with this sloppily introduced new plan. And I think the year's moratorium would give a chance for the towns who are all dealing with this to come together to have more of a brainstorm about how to prevent dumping in places where stuff shouldn't go, how to get people to comply with the recycling rule, and also possibly coordinate in a way where we could get the bins back, but if all the towns got them back at the same time, then there wouldn't be the problem of one town receiving all the town's recyclables. So it would give the towns a chance to sort of coordinate their response once they have all the information for a certain amount of time. So I think the dumping is a serious issue. I mean, we've seen so much of it anyway, even with the way services are now. The other concern I have that hasn't been mentioned is that the Ferry Road facility has very limited hours. I believe Saturday it's just a few hours in the morning, and then it closes, and weekdays it's just open till 3.
Correct.
So I'm wondering whether the district might consider, along with that they're gonna have to move their entrance booth and all of that and set their rates, whether they would also consider having more friendly hours for, a lot of people are working all weekdays, and Saturdays get very crowded over there, the times I've been over there. So that's another piece that wasn't brought up.
It's certainly been brought up a number of times, and every time that it gets looked at, of course, it's associated with a price tag. 'cause it costs
Well, but
money.
we're dealing with a price tag anyway, we're dealing with a surprise price tag, and given that there's gonna be an increase anyway, maybe it could be done in a more holistic, interconnected, sensible way. And I will just say in response to, I have no idea how many other people in town do what I do, but we just have a private hauler get our trash about 3 or 4 times a year because we recycle so much that we just pay for individual pickups. And so this is, and we can pay the recycling fee and are dedicated to doing that, but some of us do have creative mix and matches where this is a definite added expense because we're not paying for a weekly pickup of trash. Nor are we taking it to the transfer station ourselves. So that's just to answer Steve's and Geraldine's question about that.
In response to your keeping the hours longer to have it more friendly for dropping stuff off.
And to get more
The
compliance.
the way the place is set up, you can't just have one person there to open up the place. It gets to be a, then you have to have the qualified people there for the operations. So the labor intensive to keep it open gets to be a problem. And I've heard that from some of the people who work there. So you can't, there's a lot of overtime, or you have somebody else coming in and all the qualifications to do it.
If you're not having trucks going throughout the county picking up roll-offs anymore, wouldn't some of those people maybe want a job? You could maybe say, we're closed Monday and we're open all day Saturday.
More accurately, it's the fact that, you know, we won't be on the receiving end of recycling coming in from
Right.
haulers. And that's a lot of why, you know, some of this early hours maintenance is required. Open at, you know, whatever time in the morning, and they try to beat the deadline at 3. It has been discussed within the last couple of years to, you know, pick one day, like a Wednesday, and say, okay, so from that day will be, you know, noon to 8 o'clock instead of, you know, 8 to 3. But that would never work with all the haulers who had to come in and drop off whatever they picked up for recycling. Of course, that's not going to be the issue on a go-forward basis in July.
So the other thing,
It lends itself much more to discussion.
Yeah, it does, and I'm just saying it's not a sort of a shrug, well, people can just go to Ferry Road, because some people can't go during the hours that it's open. And I was certainly willing to suck it up, and, you know, I wasn't gonna make a big fuss like, oh, the budget should be $18,000 more so that I can have the delight of going to the Dummerston roll-offs, but this adds, you know, quite a few flies in the ointment.
the other, Lester and I visited a little bit about this, and I mean, it might come that it's a key card that you enter to get rid of your trash and get rid of your recyclables. So it might be that, so that somebody can go there 24 hours a day, and when you get your sticker or whatever, or you get a key card instead of a sticker. And so I mean, it's not an insurmountable thing. I mean, I would think.
And that
That it
year
could-
would give them a chance to figure that out, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just concerned if we make it too difficult for folks that they're, as I said, there's a percent that just
Yeah,
are gonna say, I'm not gonna bother.
absolutely.
And then the
Yeah.
problem is when it goes beside the road, it goes down over the bank, and then it's mega bucks trying to get it up over the
Yeah.
bank.
I'll give you my own unvarnished opinion, even though you didn't ask for it.
Yep.
I know what my
Michelle,
impression is.
what's your unvarnished?
I know what my impression is from knowing people who are, how shall we put it, ultra senior citizens in housing and so forth. And, you know, they're not necessarily in the best of health, and it's a lot of work to do their recycling, because those places don't have the service because they go over, you know, the number of units that, you know, the landlord has to provide recycling, and I think they just have extra trash.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say it, the state's probably already knows this, but it ends up in the trash. It's not, the landfills are not being bypassed.
It's a poor situation anyway, because when you mandate you're gonna recycle the entire state, any person that's taking recyclables in is probably not gonna raise their price. I mean, anybody that needs recyclables is probably gonna lower their price, because you now got a captive audience. I mean, it's not a great business model anyway.
No, it's not.
It just isn't, and it's a shame that maybe the solid waste needs to be thinking that maybe they're a recycling center now, and this is how they need to try to survive, but,
I think in the long term, because recycling has taken this path where it's just gone out into the open market and, you know, haulers are now involved also, you know, the next great challenge and opportunity is going to be with organics, because that's the next
Right.
deadline to hit
right,
all the towns. Is, I mean, right now, it's just businesses in July 2017 that are gonna have to, you know, separate out all of their organic materials. But, you know, I just looked ahead to that, you know, chart that the state has, and individuals are supposed to be doing that in 3 years.
Do I understand that private haulers are no longer gonna be taking recyclables to Ferry Road?
If it
Correct.
closes down,
If
it will be.
it's closing down, they won't bring it there.
Okay,
No,
Right,
if
there won't be
it goes down,
sorting.
it closes down. There's no sorting, no nothing going there. So
Okay.
you'd be closing down that whole facility, basically.
where are they gonna be taking it then? They're gonna be trucking it out of town?
They're gonna be, the private haulers are usually taking up to Casella up in Rutland, usually.
Right.
Or,
That's-
Anyway, they're not taking it to
or-
the Ferry
or-
Road
Or
anyway.
wherever the
Correct.
market
They're
is
on
the
single
best.
stream now
they're gonna take it to
anyway.
Triple T, and Triple T is gonna
Yeah.
take it.
yeah,
So, in
and,
fact, we're gonna be stuck, we have to use single stream after July 1st.
Right,
You know, that's what and the other part of that is the paper, the cardboard in the paper, the product they've been taking out down there, the paper mills where they recycle it would much prefer this stuff down here that over what's coming out of the single stream operation. No contamination in these,
Yeah.
and the paper mills do not want glass in their
Sure.
Mhm.
paper.
Yep.
That's the big issue. So,
and it would seem I mean, we actually are involved, and we take a lot of computers and things down there. One of our businesses, we go around to businesses and pick up their computers and stuff and take them to solid waste for them. And I mean, maybe there needs to be a better generation of income from that type of thing. I mean, I'll tell you, it's a chore down there when you show up with a pickup load of computers. I mean, it shouldn't be that way. That place should run. You should pull in and have somewhere to get rid of those things. So I think they got some work to do in their operation anyway, but there are areas where they could charge more to help offset, you know, your recycling of glass and plastics possibly.
I
Where
think everything is under the microscope at this point for where, you know, revenue can be generated.
Oh God, I think we beat that
I think.
pretty well, haven't we?
I think I beat. I think I could beat this.
I wish that was the last thing on the
The
agenda.
message is loud and clear.
Yeah, and we certainly didn't mean to dump on you, and we certainly
Is
appreciate
that
your
is that a pun
representation.
or something?
No,
It's
oh,
fine.
we were looking forward to it, now, come on.
I get to pass it along, so.
yeah, no, but I really mean that we appreciate
No, but
your representation.
I'd much rather have it go through here first, and then we'll know what the townspeople are gonna ask us the same
Right.
things.
That's good.
Right. We're going both ways again, basically. So it's good to get a heads up with what.
Practice.
And we're very aware that this isn't a change in our budget, you know, like
Yeah.
this decision.
Yes.
It's just that the information that we had when we made certain decisions relative to the budget would have maybe gone a different way, or we would have just, but like Steve said, it's sort of egg on our face, which.
Well, you've got the lead article in the Views of Dummerston, and it doesn't talk anything about, a fee.
No, I didn't point it
yeah.
out. I mean, I had no knowledge that, you know,
Right, and
So.
I put a post on the Front Porch Forum a month ago, said
mhm.
nothing about it,
No.
so.
No, you're right, you can't say, pass along information you don't know yet.
Right.
Yeah, well, thanks for being in a
All
tough
right.
position right now. Let's,
Okay.
yeah, you're the two that can handle it.
I don't know if we can handle it, but we'll try.
We'll
Oh,
still
thank
show
you.
up.
Yeah.
Good, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You're
Thanks.
welcome. Thanks
Yeah.
for the feedback.
Okay, so your
Good night, guys.
meeting
Thanks.
is on March 9th,
Correct.
so you'll maybe send us a little email letting us know?
How it went.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised there hasn't been any press about this yet.
Mm.
I expect it will happen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes, I
I
would
think it will
assume
be.
Yeah.
there will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Good,
Good
thank you.
night.
Thank you for doing your jobs.
Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Lester, good to see ya.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
So, anything else you want to talk about that? You know, even though it's not in our budget, the roll-offs or, it is something we can reconsider and, a special town meeting, we could have a Australian ballot vote or, so we can bring the topic up for consideration again at some point.
Well, I'm not sure what we would decide at a special town meeting.
We could, at a special town meeting, and I'm not advocating this, but if we haven't heard from a lot of people what they want to do about this. Town meeting, we might have 200 or 250 people, but there are, 1,500 other people that won't be there, so we won't know what they're thinking. We could have a special town meeting or an Australian ballot that would ask the question, okay, do you want to raise, $20,000 to continue to have roll-offs for recycling here?
As I said though, if it were not a secure facility,
Well, we could extend the vote, we could let, Newfane residents vote too, I suppose, since they, yes, it's not secure.
Putney and everyone else.
So, but we
Yeah.
can cross.
I think we're doing the
those
right
bridges.
thing, asking solid waste to be able to,
Yeah,
I mean, this is what they ought to be doing. Is figuring out how to handle recyclables and,
I mean, the bottom line is, we don't wanna encourage dumping. And we would like to encourage recycling as well. I mean, whether it's legislated or not, it's the right thing to do. But we sure don't wanna create a situation where there's more dumping.
mhm.
I
And,
agree with that, but there's a degree that there's a responsible behavior too. So, there's accountability that's involved in that, however we determine to ensure there's accountability. But, yeah, the bins up there, I don't think, well, that's another bridge, but whether we could negotiate, that 21,000 this year, that should go down the next year, right? Because there's close down cost in that. I'm just saying there's alternatives. We could budget for, okay, town of Dummerston, pays X amount, and you get a Dummerston, everybody gets a sticker if they want one. There's probably
Right.
lots of ways to skin the cat.
mhm.
Probably not a correct way we don't want to talk about skinning cats, right? But
Well,
there's probably a lot of things to do, but
Mhm.
I don't know if we get a motion at the town meeting, we're not gonna be boxed into spending $18,000
No.
is what I hear.
No, it could be, we might get a sense of what
People
people
want.
at town meeting want to do,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of struck, Steve, by your statement that, some people have haulers, some people have stickers. And then the other people left need to deal with their recycle, but they also need to deal with their trash. So what are they doing with their trash? Because free recycling at the district doesn't help them deal with their trash. So, I mean, you know.
Okay,
Okay. Ready to move on?
I guess so.
Okay. So going back, catching up here, correspondence for information. Anything there you would want to discuss?
Anybody going to the Select Board Institute on March 18th?
On March 18th. I wanted to go, but there is, I have something else I can't get out of.
Mhm. I will not be going.
Yeah, it's not a time of year that I can go.
Okay.
Although
You went
and I
last year,
one-
right, Hugh?
Yeah, yeah, the two of
Right,
us went.
that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
initial training
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did go last year, Joe and I went up.
Okay.
Okay, so do you want to move on?
Yes,
Under correspondence for discussion, we had the letter from the planning commission with a recommendation for the zoning administrator. Do you want to discuss that now, or would you like to hold off and do that in executive session and then come out of executive session?
I'd do that in executive session. Yep.
Okay, so let's skip over that. In their new business, well, gee, we should have had Michelle give us the pitch, but Wyndham Solid Waste Management is looking for a letter of support for the solar net metering project.
Is there any reason why we would not be interested in?
Other than just
Providing-
holding a grudge about this?
yeah,
And I actually think that hearing's already been held. Like, we may be past tense on that letter.
Okay, she just gave us the letter last week.
Yeah, okay. I got an email from Bob and I had responded to him saying, hey, I just saw this.
Mhm.
And I'll look again, but I think that meeting may have already been held, the
That-
public service
That
meeting.
train has left the
I
station?
think it has.
Okay,
I mean, if we're gonna participate in a program, it would be hard to believe we wouldn't support the program.
yeah,
I don't know, common sense doesn't always prevail, but.
right. Okay, so maybe we don't need to
How about I will get,
look into that?
I will get back to you, but do you wanna say if we will do it if it's not past tense?
I would say, do we
Yeah.
should have a motion to that?
Okay, I'll move that. There's actually a template in there,
Yep.
right? I move that we support the, letter of support for the solar net metering project.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, great. The listers, they just need us to sign off on this. This is a certificate. There are no appeals or suits pending. As under protest for the 2016 grand list.
I'll move we sign the, what do I wanna call that? Certificate of no appeal or suit pending form.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion?
Is there any reason not to sign it?
No, there's no suits.
Okay,
You know, all three of the listers signed it. I think we gotta trust them.
okay.
All those, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we just signed that. Do you want, here's that draft letter, I'll give that to you. Okay, there's a reappraisal agreement that the listers would like us to sign, but I was thinking we might put this off until after town meeting, when we actually vote on the budget that includes the funds for this. If that, for some reason, doesn't pass, then signing this reappraisal agreement seems a little,
Premature.
yeah, so. If we put this off until our March 15th meeting, it's still plenty of time.
What was the note that they left?
Is there a time period in which they need to submit this?
I asked Charlotte today, and she said, oh, it would be fine to wait till after town meeting.
Oh, good.
Yeah, the only thing we could do would be to sign, well, the motion could be that we sign it pending approval there, and that way it would move along quicker, but I don't see why it couldn't wait. I don't see a reason here yet that it couldn't wait.
Have we received that by email?
No, this was just in, it's not,
Because I think maybe not everybody's read it thoroughly yet.
okay.
Yeah, it was in the folders.
It was
Yeah, it was in the
packet.
folder, but.
The listers one? It's Nemrick's, well, okay.
Nemrick's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were fine with it.
okay, so
We're gonna postpone that till after the meeting.
Yeah.
okay, we're in agreement on that?
Yep.
Okay, so under new business, we have possible appointments. We have candidates for Planning Commission, Energy Committee, Select Board Assistant, as well as the ZA. Would you like to deal with those now, or do you want
Well, I think we could deal with the Planning Commission and the Energy Committee. I think if we're gonna go into executive session for the ZA, that the Select Board Assistant should also be in the executive session.
Okay.
Those are both paid positions.
to? Okay. Then, would you like to make a motion?
I would move that we appoint Brian Richardson to the Planning Commission. Do you want to do them both at the same time?
Yeah.
And Eric
Lineback?
Lineback to the Energy Committee.
I'll second that.
Okay, and let's see.
And do we need to say for specifically what positions in terms
Uh,
of
I
the timing?
Think,
Yeah, Brian is filling out Cindy's
Cindy Wilcox's
term,
term.
which will be,
2019.
Right.
ends in 2019.
And what about the Energy Commission
I think,
position? Are those just 3-year
I
terms?
think they are. Let's see, who can find this fastest? Energy, what the heck is he doing?
Well, they all got different,
Okay,
oh, he could replace Larry Doucette
Yeah, Larry's.
and finish his term out to 2018.
sure. How about
Let's
we
do it, then we're consistent in how we're
Yeah.
doing this.
Okay,
Okay, so shall I amend that motion to
Yes.
be a little more specific?
yes.
So I'd like to move that we appoint Brian Richardson to complete Cindy Wilcox's position on the Planning Commission. And Eric Lineback, did I get that right?
Yep.
To fill Larry Doucette's position on the Energy Committee, which would bring that to 2018.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, I'll let those people know this evening, give them the good news. And,
Yeah, I think we're lucky to
Yeah.
have two really good people
yep,
step forward.
right, and there's still room on both those committees.
That's right.
So, under unfinished business, this Wyndham Solid Waste solar array just never seems to go away.
Those contacts don't go away, do they?
We were going to wait for a clean copy.
Correct, and I have not received that back yet,
Okay,
so.
we'll just keep, it gives us something to do each time. I haven't heard any updates on the athletics field. You had, other than you had a question or a comment about it.
I did, on that, I just thought about that after, it seemed we had the representation here, on the agenda said the school board was coming in to discuss that. We had one person, one person presenting, yes, and one sitting back here.
That I think she's just shy, but.
Okay, so, I guess Mike, I would like some kind of a letter from the school board saying, endorsing this, saying that this is what they think is the best interest of the town, and maybe some reasoning behind that, as opposed to just getting a lease in
Okay.
hand that says whatever.
I
In
think
other
that's
words,
All right, yeah, rather than just having one person,
I want to be sure
we have a sense that it's the
the
board.
board is making the recommendation for that,
Mhm.
so.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Good. If you want, I can talk with Christina Naylor or write to her about that.
I'm not even sure who's the chairman of the school board right now.
It's not Amy Wall?
No, and it's, I don't think it's Christina either.
No.
Katie Evers.
Yes, thank you.
But I think Christina was the one that came to us, and she's the one that we requested the lease from. And
Right.
so we're saying, in addition to the lease, we would like a letter from the
I
school
see,
board.
sure.
Yeah.
So that seems
Okay.
appropriate.
Okay. Good. Any other thoughts, comments? Okay, going on to other business. This is a favorite part of the show.
Steve, you're on.
Oh, let's see.
Liquor board.
On
I'll move that we recess the select board meeting and go into session as the liquor control board.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I would then move that we accept the license renewal application for Balanced Rock Corporation Route 5, which is at the KOA campground.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and I learned that we do have to sign these.
Yeah. Well, then I would then move that we adjourn our meeting as the liquor control board and reconvene our select board meeting.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
You're good.
Whoa.
God, I'm
We
getting that
are.
down.
So, let's see, letters for reappointments to town committees, commissions, and offices, how is that coming along?
Not too good.
I don't understand this, because I thought in years past, what we've always done is gone through the list and assigned, the various folks to various board members, and then we would reach out to folks. And I actually enjoyed that
Yeah,
process.
this doesn't preclude that,
Right.
this had gone on behind the scenes.
Before we got
To
to that
get-
point.
Okay.
To
If there
get,
was somebody that isn't interested, or some of the things, some
to
of
get
the,
to some of the, the planning commissioners, or some
right,
of the.
because there's people that don't wanna run again, or this, it just precludes some of our phone calls for.
And then we go down through the rest of
Right.
the list, and,
So what are we gonna do, send a letter to everyone?
Well, we
No,
used to
no.
email everybody, but,
I've requested from Lori,
Okay,
and,
her form
yeah,
and the email listing.
that,
And
of the,
she was able to send me the form, but I haven't received any email. I have no contact information.
okay.
okay. So it's
I
not
haven't- I haven't
everyone,
done it,
no,
so I
it's
don't
not,
have any contact information.
yeah, it's not the fence viewers or
I
right,
understand.
those.
Well, maybe this is a time to just let that go and just do our assigned calls, and we'll figure it out that way. I mean, we don't have to make work.
no, it actually was easier to,
Well, when we
Because
had
a
a
lot of
select
them
board,
take
but I
care
mean,
of
it
it, yeah.
puts it
Right.
on Maria as opposed to.
well, I
on
can't,
us.
because she doesn't have their emails, so she can't do them anyway.
Well, how would we get in touch with them?
Well, we
Yeah,
would-
call them. And it's not easy to find people's phone numbers anymore.
No,
Right,
it's not.
right.
I mean, I got them from Lori before, so I guess that's,
I
Yeah, I
guess,
think
either way,
Lori's-
we have to get that information from Lori.
Right.
Yeah, I think Lori, told you she's pretty busy and it's hard for her right now
yeah,
to
yeah,
get that done, so.
okay, well, so if we,
Well, couldn't we, ask the chairs of each committee? I mean, I'd be willing to call the chairs of 2 or 3 of the committees and say, so of your members, I see that,
yeah, this person's up,
Yeah.
and this person's up,
Yeah.
what are the plans?
I mean, I hate to, I mean, Lori it's been an incredible couple of weeks,
Um,
and I don't wanna put
Yeah,
more on
so I
Maria.
think that might work, and just because now I'm thinking about this a little bit more, it's not that we just automatically reappoint these, we just hear from this person, on the cemetery committee that they want to continue, and we can consider them along with anybody else who would like to be on the cemetery committee. But at least we have checked with these people to see if they want to continue. So,
And we already know that Beverly and Marty do not want to continue on the development review board.
we haven't twisted any of their arms yet.
I twisted Marty pretty hard, I think Marty's done, yeah.
So Marty and who?
Beverly.
Okay, on the
Oh,
DRB.
yeah, we
DRB.
got that, we did get a letter from Beverly.
So,
Marty wanted to know if you had to submit a letter, but I told him I thought I could handle that message.
okay. Right. Yes, he's not resigning, he's just not.
Not gonna renew right
Yeah.
now.
So, so that just leaves Chad Farnham as a DRB.
Is there somebody that's the head of that development review board, the
Is
chair?
it Alan?
Alan
still.
is, right, yeah.
So do you want me to call Alan and ask him about Patty, Cammy, and Sam and Chad?
No,
Their
their
terms.
terms
No, the only one
aren't up.
up
Oh,
is-
right, oh,
So
okay.
it could, you could just
None of them are up
cut right
anyway.
to the quick and just
Call
call Chad. Yeah.
I could do that. His number is not hard to find.
Well, and I would this be the time you'd ask Chad if he would care to move from an alternate position to
Yeah.
a permanent position?
Right.
Good
Oh.
point.
Because Beverly is not. gonna-
Most of these we usually do after town meeting. I wonder if we could get
Yeah.
Maria to print these out and then we
Okay.
could all
Let's
jot
do
down
that.
who we're gonna call and,
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just
you
do
could
that.
do that one and get that done, but
No, I don't have to. I mean, I was just trying to
Speed
keep
things up,
Lori
yeah.
and Maria from having to do,
I would get these printed
Yep,
out and
I
then
think
we
that's a
all,
good idea.
we go down through to sign who we're gonna call right
Yep.
after town meeting and,
Okay, I think that's a great idea. I guess I had put it on the agenda just to see where we were
Yeah.
on this.
and I think that, you know,
Without carrying
every
that.
year we go through this with, who, you know, email, or how do we contact these people? It seems like it could be useful to have a master contact list that just can be printed out of who, you know, this list with email addresses on it.
Right.
I thought we had that, but, apparently we don't.
Email and phone.
Yeah, that isn't what I got from Lori, it was a form letter.
Right, I mean, each
Yeah.
committee typically has it,
Yes.
so maybe we could have our select board assistant collect it from each committee so
Sure.
that it's on one place. And obviously the names change, but if we have somebody that's maintaining that list, then when they give us the names, they're giving us contact
Yeah.
information at the
It'd
same
be
time.
nice for each one of us to have that in our.
Yes, it
Yeah.
would, yeah.
Yeah.
So when somebody asks you, you've got
Yeah.
contact
Right,
information.
Right,
right.
Yeah,
right.
that's a good idea.
Send out the party
Very good.
invitations, we've got.
Very good idea.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, well then, moving along.
So I'll just back up one. So this public service board meeting was on the 22nd of February. So
Well,
I think we're,
22nd of February, you know, she probably gave it to me, what?
no, I think they just sent them out kind of at the last minute. That's the email I have for Bob. I asked him how the meeting went. He said not much.
I think I
happened.
got this on the 21st, I didn't really leave a lot.
I'm just stacking up the stuff we signed in one pile, is that okay for you?
That's okay, good, and then I'll shuffle it.
I lose track of it.
Okay, so, the articles for town meeting. You all have those copies. Cindy Jerome, the moderator, has put the language that you actually use to move the article.
Yeah, I usually do the capital fund, and I would love to continue to do them, if it's all right with everybody else, that's 5 and 6.
5 and 6, that's okay with me. Steve? Okay. The chair usually does the 2 budget articles,
Yeah,
if that's all right with everyone.
Which articles?
Article 7 and Article 8. So,
and you usually abbreviate them, right? We don't go through them line by line. You're pretty good about abbreviating those.
abbreviating, go,
the budget says you
Not
do.
going
You
down
don't go
the
line by
entire
line, oh
budget?
my god,
No,
yeah.
I just,
Yeah, you're pretty good, that's what I'm saying, you do a good job.
okay, you're just giving me positive,
Yeah,
you're
feedback.
letting me know that that's what you want me
Keep
to
them
do.
short.
All right, you're very,
Yeah,
whatever,
I'll get it later.
okay.
I would take Articles 2 and 10.
2 and 10, if that's okay with everyone.
Thank you very much.
Joe,
I'll do Article 9.
okay.
I didn't write fast enough to volunteer.
You ought to,
Um,
okay.
Do you wanna do the
There's
Grange?
number 4 again.
What do we have left? We have Article 3 and Article 4.
Well, I guess I'll do 3.
Oh, wait. Wait.
Yeah, 3 and 4 are still
Did-
left.
Okay, yeah, so
Steve, did you say you wanted to do the capital fund though?
Yeah, 5 and
5 and 6.
6.
Okay,
Okay,
but
there's
isn't
a
4 the
capital-
capital fund?
4 is also capital fund.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Okay,
Well, I'll do number 3.
okay. Okay, so you're gonna do 4 also?
Yeah.
Whoa, no, there's no overtime.
So in 11, is that actually do we move?
No, that one Cindy will,
Yeah.
do that one.
But-
She'll
but
ask.
10 does have a
Yep,
I move thing, even though okay.
yes, so,
Who's gonna do that?
Joe
Oh, I-
signed up for
yeah.
10. And
Okay.
you just,
You'll have to
Yeah.
make up your own script, huh?
Yeah,
Oh. I wouldn't want to.
okay.
Do you want the fire truck? I mean, if you're looking for more, I mean, I like,
No, I just
I like-
I thought I could just rehearse this one 2 or 3 times and
you won't even have to, yeah.
well, you have to be the understudy for everyone else.
Yeah, so you have to be prepared on all of them, you.
okay.
Right,
Yeah,
okay, so, let's see. Well, that was easy. So, we had, is there any other business? Other than-
so we should be moving to go into executive, there's nothing else, so we could move to go into executive session to discuss an employee
It's a personnel matter.
personnel matter.
Yep.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So do we need the camera?
Camera goes off, but we will be making a decision.
So I need to wait, okay.
Okay, so we're coming out of executive session and we have a zoning administrator candidate. What would you like to do?
Who's got his name?
So I'll move that we appoint Roger DeCitis,
Just say this.
Actually, higher.
hire Roger DeCitis as the new zoning administrator.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, I will let him know. Then we have a select board assistant candidate.
I'll move that we hire Carla Hicken as the select board assistant.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And I'll abstain,
Abstentions?
I'll abstain, because I wasn't there for the interview.
Okay, all right. I'll drop her a line this evening. All right, is there any other business? Okay, you'd like to go home?
Yep.
Okay, you know what you have to do.
Move to adjourn?
All right,
I'll second that.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.